Shalom, 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 shalom. I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Makakwadash. Double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone of Teaching Real Well. Peace and salutation to those flex scattered abroad that's out here doing this work in truth and sincerity. I'm Brother Bach from Prophets of Babylon Camp, coming at you with a quick sit down through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai. The Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. The title of the lesson is going to be, Why Me? No, why not me? Why me? No, why not me, man? And it's because, when you come into this truth, man, it's an honor, man. It's a blessing to be in this truth. Of course, brothers catching hell, but who ain't catching hell, man? But the main thing is we know that the Lord is watching over us, man, and keeping us. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 73. It says, then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire. Right, man. And if you still out here doing this work for the Lord, how about Shem Yahushua into the sincerity, man? You could be of that elect, man. We could be of that elect. It says they shall be tried as gold in the fire, man. Brothers out here catching hell every week, man. Every other day, man. Bro, the Lord is gonna keep you on your toes, man. You can never get too comfortable in this truth, man. And I'm just speaking from, from experiences, man. If the Lord ain't if the Lord ain't chastising you, man, the Lord is not dealing with you, man. You gonna catch some kind of hell, man. That's just a part of this truth, man. Because you never know what situations you might have to go through in Jacob's trouble, man. When shit getting real out here, man. What the Lord may have put you through, made you understand some circumstances in Jacob's trouble, man. I'm gonna go to the book of 1 Peter. 1 Peter chapter 4. This is 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 12. It says, Beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial, which is to try you, man. Don't think of it as strange, man. You have to go through some kind of tribulation, some kind of trial. Because Jacob's trouble is not going to be a walk in the park, man. Jacob's trouble is going to be the worst time in history, man. Don't you think the Lord got to prepare you for that, man? You're not gonna look up and make it through Jacob's trouble, man. No, the Lord has to save you from that, man. It says, as though some strange thing happened unto you, but rejoice in as much as ye are partakers of Hamashiach's suffering, that when his glory shall be revealed, ye may be glad also with exceeding joy, man. Because we know we were honorable of that crown, man. We have to go through that hell to get that crown, man. And we gonna have eternal glory, man. We be of that elect number. We gonna have that crown. It says you may be glad also with exceeding joy, man. You know how good it's gonna feel to get that crown. To be of that elect number. To not be shameful in the kingdom, man. That's gonna be a beautiful day, man. Brother's gonna be, call all y'all by Shem Yahushua, man, for this opportunity, man. We go to the book of James. James chapter like I just seen. Yeah, there it is, right there. James chapter 1. It says, this is James chapter 1, from start at verse 2. It says, my brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into divers temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. But let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing, man. You know? So you gotta count this all as joy, man. You know, cause the little hell we catching on this side, man, is not gonna be compared to anything we got coming to us, man. You know, the Lord will bless us more than you can ever imagine, man. You know, our elders say, you know, one elder, he say, man, a million of your best days isn't to be compared to one day in the kingdom of Yahweh Shem Yahshai, man. You know, if you think about some of the best days you ever had in your life, man, it still wouldn't compare to that to one day in the kingdom, man. You know, you never gonna die, you never gonna stress. You know, everything gonna be righteous. You ain't gotta be out here seeing these damn alphabet people all over the place. You know, brothers gonna be able to relax, man. Kick up your feet and relax. You know, brothers don't have real peace, man. We don't. Scriptures say, you know, roughly paraphrasing, depart ye, for this is not your rest. You know, and you can tell because we catch hell, man. You know, and to go back to the topic, man. You know, why me? No, why not me, man? You know, because we have a special calling, man. Everybody doesn't get this calling. You know, think about it. You got people that has never even heard of the Lord's name. You know, or will never be called into the fold, man. But the Lord has called us to the light. You know, to see the power of the Lord, man. The Lord has blessed us to see chariots, man. Brother seen chariots. Brother seen miracles, man. You know, you got some people that ain't even gonna see shit like that, man. You know, the Lord has blinded them from start to finish, man. We go to the book of Romans. Romans chapter 12. This is Romans chapter 12, verse 2. It says, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what it is that good and acceptable and perfect will of Yahweh Shem Yahshai. You know, and that perfect will is doing the work, man. You know, doing the work. Fearing the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahshai, man. You know, you can't fall back into what you were, man. You know, it's time to keep the main thing the main thing. Keep your focus on the main thing, man. You know. We'll grab this last scripture, man. I ain't want to make this lesson too long. We'll go to the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 10. It's 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13. It says, there hath no temptation taken you out, but such as is common to man. But Yahweh Shem Yahshai is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it, man. You know, so the Lord is always going to make a way out, you know, if you truly believe that, man. You know, it's a blessing to be in the situation that we in, man. You know, the Lord is putting us through this fiery trial, you know, these tribulations to make us stronger, man. You know, and then the Lord will make a way out for you, man. You know, you have to wholeheartedly believe that, man. But that's pretty much it on this lesson, man. You know, take it, man. You know, the Lord has called us for a purpose, man. You know, and we have to make our calling and election sure, man. You know, but Lord willing, this is edified. Until next video. Shalom.